Right, are you ready, Kaz?
I am.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Full Time Whistle. This is going to be our second episode of the podcast. So we hope you enjoyed the first one. So we're going to do a second one. We're going to talk about different topics today. So we're going to cover the World Cup, fans returning to stadium, and the Championship. And of course, I have Kieran here with me as well.
Hi everyone, back again.
Back again with the white vans. So
Look who's back.
let's kick this off with the World Cup. So everyone in the world, well, let's say everyone in Europe, was looking forward to the Euros this season. Unfortunately, it's been postponed due to the global pandemic. Can you see the World Cup going the same way?
No. I think. I mean, if you just postpone everything and when do you stop? Everything just goes a year later. That's the issue. At some point, you've got to say we're back on the normal cycle of things. So I don't think it will.
So you don't think
I
it'll
don't
get
think it should
postponed
either.
a year? You think it will carry on at the same time it's scheduled at the moment?
Yeah, 2022. Yeah.
So the problem I have with that is, well, we'll get on to, obviously, that's fixture congestion and stuff like that, but in terms of lockdowns in countries, because I've heard today that Beijing might be going to a second lockdown and a second wave. I know, obviously, we're 2.5 years away from the World Cup, because obviously it's going to be in winter, but are other countries, could it be behind closed doors? Could other fans not be allowed to travel there?
I mean, I think we're just too far away. It's like you say, it's two years, 2.5 years.
I mean, would it
It's
really
just
make
too early to say, isn't it?
would it make that much of a difference if it was postponed for a year? Like, what would happen?
Uh, It totally depends on other competitions, doesn't it?
Because I
I mean,
mean,
how?
it's going to massively conflict with the fixtures already that are congested. Because you've got to think we've got World Cup qualification coming in next season as well. I mean, the game's going to be
Hmm.
they're already going to be congested fixtures. Because the season's going to be started later, so postponing it a year would make more sense because the fixtures are already congested. But that's just my opinion. I think it should personally be postponed a year. Everything's just a year back now, just to make it as plain sailing as possible.
But we kind of want football, don't we? That's the problem.
Well, yeah, the globe wants football. I mean, there's no competition like the World Cup. It's the best footballing competition. Tournament football is arguably the best kind of football. I mean, even when people were playing Sunday League or Saturday League, tournament days were the best days by far.
Yeah, there's
So
something to win in it,
there
on
is.
like, and it's where everyone's kind of got that chance to win something, whereas you don't get in a league really.
I mean, there's so many obviously
It,
players like from different continents playing against each other. It's just so much better, so much more entertaining to watch, especially the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, because they literally carry their international teams, like carry.
well, Messi isn't that great for Argentina, is he? He's not really
No, but
ever.
I think he is. I think he is that great. I think in 2014 he took Argentina to the final himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he's not as consistent as Ronaldo has been and other players on the international stage, has he really?
True, true.
He's
But then
not
again,
shown
though,
his.
like neither of them have the likes of the teammates. So back in the last World Cup, Ronaldo didn't have Sergio Ramos at the back. He didn't have Tony Cruz behind him. He didn't have Marcelo. Messi didn't have Iniesta. Didn't have Xavi. Didn't have anybody like that. Didn't have Suarez. Didn't have Neymar.
That's the thing, isn't it? When you look at the world's best players, people don't think of the teams and that they were playing in, and it's the other players that actually enable them to shine, and that these best players don't need to worry about defending or anything else or playmaking as such. They score goals and they're allowed to do their own individual things on the pitch.
But
Whereas that's probably not the same at international level.
If we keep in mind these two best players that have ever lived, Messi and Ronaldo, if we postpone the World Cup a year, would Ronaldo and Messi make that World Cup, or would we have seen them at their last one in 2018?
And I think that's probably one of the issues that they're considering.
Because they bring a lot. They bring a lot of revenue. They must do.
Well, you've got this 2022 World Cup in Qatar. They want the best players there in Qatar. This is massive for their country, isn't it?
It's huge.
Just in terms of money, in terms of the infrastructure they're all building, whether it should have gone there is a different story. But
no, probably not.
If you take that aside, they want the best players there, and if they're delaying it a year, which means these players retire from international football, it's not the same, is it?
But would it be good for the World Cup to be there just on the basis of there's going to be water breaks rumoured mid-half? Well, effectively quarters in the game.
I mean, if we go back a few years, FIFA was adamant that it was going to take place in the summer still, which is just bonkers, really, isn't it?
Football is always has been a winter sport. Well, not winter as such, but like autumn to spring.
I mean, the World Cups are summer World Cups, aren't they? Obviously, you have your domestic season. And I don't know if it ever crossed their minds that Qatar was flipping hot. And I mean, it probably wasn't the best idea.
How is it going to work with the Premier League? Because you've already got the congested fixtures now, but how's it going to work?
Well, I mean,
it's going to be in winter. We're going to have a World Cup in winter.
A lot of the European leagues and leagues around the world already have winter breaks anyway. I think the English league is probably...
Well, we're trialling it, aren't we? We've trialled it this season,
an exception. Yeah, and can you really call that a winter break? It was one weekend on, 1 weekend off.
It was half the league played one weekend and the other half played the other weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a halfway house, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't
just to appease people. And I mean, there's probably, if you go down to the grassroots level, there is a growing argument now, I think, to have a winter break, because the pitches are just not in a great state. You have all this bad weather, and I mean, this season before it was all curtailed, there was having so much bad weather.
I mean, the UK, it's more about the rain, isn't it, rather than actually being frozen over.
Yeah. And I mean, years before, we've had bad cold winters and we've had games cut off, but it was just so much rain and bad weather and storms that it was just ridiculous. There were some fields that were for months on end just not played on at all because they were just underwater.
Yeah.
But then if you go up to the high level, there's probably not that winter break kind of argument because the pitches are just in such good condition. But
a lot of teams are moving to 3G pitch and 4G pitches now as well, even at grassroots level.
I think it's not long before they actually say that that's allowed in the Football League, because at the moment it's not. Obviously, they bring in so much more money for clubs.
Does it make a does it really make a difference playing on a 4G pitch to a grass pitch?
I think it does. I think there is a difference. You can tell.
I mean, you can tell. The problem is, though, it doesn't let the teams kind of, in a way, cheat. But getting off topic. Well, that can be another.
Yeah. That's
a whole different argument. So, if we go back to the financial things of the World Cup. Go back to the financial things. Should more countries be allowed to qualify to bring in more money? Obviously, at the moment, the football world has taken a massive step back. Even next season could be a big financial struggle. So with more countries being allowed to enter the World Cup, could that be a better idea? Because it would bring in more fan base, more sponsorships, more everything to bring in more money. But would the competition lose its, like, I don't know what the word is, but Like, would it lose something out of it? Because literally anybody would be there. It's not the best of the best. It's everybody.
Yeah, there's an argument for saying the more teams the better, but then do we really want all teams to be there? Surely that's what the qualifiers are for. And if you don't qualify in that top 24, is it 24 teams?
Isn't it America and the Canada one that's after? Aren't they're wanting to make it pretty
Yeah.
substantially bigger, aren't they?
Well, I mean, if you go for the Americas, the USA are probably never going to qualify unless it's on their own soil anyway. So
True, and Canada.
yeah, so that's kind of a different argument. But I mean, yeah, expanding more, it grows the game in those countries, doesn't it? If their teams are at a World Cup,
Especially after all this, countries are struggling with money, and football is a great way to bring in money, not just for like the teams themselves, but for a country.
yeah, exactly. It is a massive commercial entity, isn't it? It just makes money.
I mean, compared to the Super Bowl, it's massive. The Super Bowl's
It's a
nothing compared to the
balance,
World
yeah.
Cup final. And
It's a balance between
even if you're
money.
like, there's some nations that probably won't watch the World Cup because they think, oh, we're never going to get there, so I'm not going to watch it. But if you've entered it, you're more enticed to watch the remaining fixtures.
Yeah,
So
it
then,
is a balance between money and saying are these actually the best teams playing in the world?
and another thing moving on, like obviously with it being in Qatar, how will teams cope with the heat?
Um, it's hard to say. They'd have to do some warm weather training, I think,
I mean,
at the very least.
they already do
Um,
have warm weather camps. I mean, England go to a warm weather camp, don't they, before the World Cup? They did for the last one. But you've got teams like
yeah,
Russia who are they going to be able to cope? Are footballers going to be able to cope in the Qatar heat?
it's difficult to say, isn't it? But it's not. You can't really be an argument to say that one team has got a kind of an edge over another team because of the heat. Because they'll all be in the same position. All the teams arrive at the same time.
I mean, just to
It's
put it
up
in
to
perspective, in Qatar, it's 10 o'clock at time of recording, and it's 33 degrees Celsius.
yeah.
Like,
um, that
and
is
the hottest point in the day in Qatar, obviously your hottest point is between 12 and 3, and it goes up to 44 degrees at 2 o'clock, which is when a lot of football is going to be played. And that can't be good on the human body, despite who you are, playing football at that magnitude, at that heat.
I think the game is going to be a lot slower,
I
isn't it?
think it's going to potentially be a lot boring. A lot more boring.
Well, international football just now is not as intense as domestic football, is it?
It's
But
not. It's not. But obviously,
it's
the better,
yeah, it's totally different, isn't it?
the more you advance in the competition, the better the football becomes. But I just can't. I don't know how they're going to compete in that, like cope in the heat, because it is going. Like, try playing football, a competitive football match, in 44 degrees heat. That's degrees Celsius.
Yeah. It's they're going to have to play in kind of closed roof, air conditioned stadiums or something to just. It's
They're going to
just
need water
bonkers.
breaks every
It's
10
not even the heat, is it?
minutes.
It's the humidity as
Yeah.
well. The humidity of the air.
I mean, it's just
Because
going
I
to be
mean, you can protect it from
ridiculous.
direct sunlight, but yeah, it's just. I don't know. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to like have wet paper towels or something.
I mean, I'm looking now, like, on the statistics for average weather of the month in Qatar, and it's October, the warmest it can get is 35 degrees, November 29, and December goes down to 24, but the normal is between 20 and 28 still. That's in December.
Yeah, and that's hotter than our summers.
Exactly. I mean, that's a weekend we go in the beer garden. Never mind. Have a Christmas dinner. I mean, that's... I don't know how it's going to be done. I really don't know how it's going to be done.
It's going to be a shock to the system, and it's only changing for a year. Just one. So it's like
The only...
you have to question whether it's really worth it.
The only benefit I can think of the World Cup being in December is we only have to wait 3.5 years till the next one.
That's true.
That is the only...
The quicker it comes around.
That's the only benefit I can possibly think
There's
of
always
it
a
being
plus.
when it is that we have to wait only 3.5 years, not 4. But then the problem is now we've had to wait 4.5 years for the next World Cup.
Which is really sad.
It is, but keeping on the World Cup stage, I think the best one is going to be the USA Canada. I think that's going to be a phenomenal World Cup. I think that is going to be brilliant. It's a long time away, I know, but that is going to be so good. I'm not going to Qatar. There's no chance of going to Qatar, but I want to aim to go to the USA Canada World Cup. I think that is going to be amazing.
I mean, you've got all the infrastructure there already. I mean, you've got a growing fan base in the Americas for football or soccer.
Let's just hope that Megan Rapinoe is not there causing havoc.
I think she'll be there.
Oh,
She'll be the ambassador. But
calling Virgil van Dijk cute. No,
it's got the potential, hasn't it?
It's going to be good.
Great.
It's going to be good. It's going to be very good. Right, so I think that about wraps up the World Cup segment. So if we move on to so this actually ties in with it. Fans returning to stadiums.